Categories of test techniques. The purpose of a test technique, including those discussed in this section, is to help in identifying test conditions, test cases, and test data. The choice of which test techniques to use depends on a number of factors, including 1. Component or system complexity. 2. Regulatory standards. 3. Customer or contractual requirements. 4. Risk levels and types. 5. Available documentation. 6. Tester knowledge and skills. 7. Available tools. 8. Time and budget. 9. Software development lifecycle model. 10. The types of defects expected in the component or system. Some techniques are more applicable to certain situations and test levels, others are applicable to all test levels. When creating test cases, testers generally use a combination of test techniques to achieve the best results from the test effort. The use of test techniques in the test analysis, test design, and test implementation activities can range from very informal, little to no documentation, to very formal. The appropriate level of formality depends on the context of testing, including the maturity of test and development processes, time constraints, safety or regulatory requirements, the knowledge and skills of the people involved, and the software development lifecycle model being followed. Categories of test techniques and their characteristics. In this syllabus, test techniques are classified as black box, white box, or experience-based. Black box test techniques, also called behavioral or behavior-based techniques, are based on an analysis of the appropriate test basis, e.g., formal requirements documents, specifications, use cases, user stories, or business processes. These techniques are applicable to both functional and non-functional testing. Black box test techniques concentrate on the inputs and outputs of the test object without reference to its internal structure. White box test techniques, also called structural or structure-based techniques, are based on an analysis of the architecture, detailed design, internal structure, or the code of the test object. Unlike black box test techniques, white box test techniques concentrate on the structure and processing within the test object. Experience-based test techniques leverage the experience of developers, testers and users to design, implement, and execute tests. These techniques are often combined with black box and white box test techniques. Common characteristics of black box test techniques include the following. 2. Test cases may be used to detect gaps between the requirements and the implementation of the requirements, as well as deviations from the requirements. 3. Coverage is measured based on the items tested in the test basis and the technique applied to the test basis. Common characteristics of white box test techniques include 1. Test conditions, test cases, and test data are derived from a test basis that may include code, software architecture, detailed design, or any other source of information regarding the structure of the software. 2. Coverage is measured based on the items tested within a selected structure, e.g., the code or interfaces, and the technique applied to the test basis. Common characteristics of experience-based test techniques include 1. Test conditions, test cases, and test data are derived from a test basis that may include knowledge and experience of testers, developers, users and other stakeholders. This knowledge and experience includes expected use of the software, its environment, likely defects, and the distribution of those defects. The international standard, ISO, IEC, IEEE 29119-4, contains descriptions of test techniques and their corresponding coverage measures. See Craig 2002 and Copeland 2004 for more on techniques. Key takeaways. 1. The purpose of test techniques is to help identify test conditions, test cases, and test data in order to achieve the best results from the testing effort. 2. The choice of test techniques depends on factors such as complexity, regulatory standards, risk levels, documentation, tester knowledge and skills, tools, time and budget, software development lifecycle model, and expected defects. 3. Test techniques are classified as black box, white box, or experience-based, and each type has its own characteristics and coverage measures. 3. Black box techniques focus on inputs and outputs without reference to internal structure, while white box techniques focus on the structure and processing within the test object. 3. Experience-based techniques leverage the experience of stakeholders to design, implement, and execute tests.